Hello everyone. So today we'll be talking about Ito calculus. Specifically, we'll start with Ito integral. Ito integral for a simple process, and then we'll try to generalize it. Ito is actually again name of a scientist, so I has to be capital always. It's the Japanese scientist. So first of all, why do we need this? Now, we have studied Brownian motion, and we have also seen that share prices could probably be modeled as functions of Brownian motion. So we are going to need some sort of different structure for modeling the share prices. So what do I mean by that? So just take a small example. So let Cn be the number of shares that you hold just before time point n. Okay, number of shares that you hold just before time point n. What do I mean by just before time point n? The share price at time point n is not yet known, so this is the number of shares that we are holding before that price becomes known. As soon as that share price becomes known, we may want to sell some shares or buy some more shares, and hence the number of shares would change. Okay, so this Cn has not taken into consideration the effect of share price at time point n on our decision of buying or selling. Okay, so the strategy of buying and selling would be decided after Sn, that is the share price, becomes known. So strategy, this is based on strategy decided on the basis of history before n. Okay, history of share prices before n. Okay, now Sn we know is the share price at time point n. So at time n, what would be the return? So return at time n would become Cn times Sn minus Sn minus 1. Sn minus 1, suppose let us assume that we have discrete time. So Sn minus 1 is share price at time point n minus 1, and Sn is now share price at time n. So on each share the return is Sn minus Sn minus 1. It may be positive or negative, and the total return is Cn times Sn minus Sn minus 1. Okay. Now if we go on doing this process, means now depending on this return we decide to either buy or sell some shares, and the final number of shares at just before time point n plus 1 becomes Cn plus 1, and so on. Then total return during 0 to n would be, total return during 0 to n would become sum over small n going from 1 to capital N, Cn times Sn minus Sn minus 1. Okay, so at every time point we will have this Cn into Sn minus Sn minus 1 as written, and the total return would be this. Okay, so this is for the discrete case. If I want to approximate it in the continuous setup, means if I want to consider continuous price movements, then this summation would become integral. Okay, this C process, let me denote it by now X process, and this is a change in something, so this is something like dZs. Okay, dz is change. Why am I saying now z? Because we are going to model share prices as some sort of Brownian motion, not exactly Brownian motion, geometric Brownian motion, but we would see it in a detail later. And xs is suppose the number of shares, the process which denotes the number of shares at time point s. So we want to consider this integral. If I want to compute this integral, then I need to know how to compute integral of anything with respect to Brownian motion. But we already know that Brownian motion is nowhere differentiable. Okay, we know from the properties of Brownian motion that it's continuous everywhere but nowhere differentiable. As a result, this dz actually has no meaning at all. because dz is not defined. Okay, so this is actually abuse of notation. This dz is meaningless. Then how do we deal with this problem? Because we need this, we need integral excess dzs, and we don't know how to define dz. So that's why Ito came up with a special branch of calculus known as Ito calculus, where you can define integrals with respect to Brownian motion, even though Brownian motion is not differentiable anywhere. Okay, so we are going to study that now. Okay, so as I mentioned, we'll first start with a simple process, so integral of some simple process, and then we'll try to generalize it to any arbitrary process. So what is a simple process? That is first question. In probability theory, you have studied simple random variables. So simple random variables were those random variables which had only finitely many possible values, right? The support of simple random variable was a finite set. So here also we have something similar. So simple process is the one which takes, constant values across certain intervals. Okay, so suppose we want to talk about interval 0 to capital T, then we can divide this interval into different partitions. They don't have to be equidistant. And if suppose the process is constant in every interval, so here to here it has some value, here to here it has some other value, then it has some other value, and so on. So now across each interval the process is constant, then such a process would be known as simple process. Okay, please note this is not necessarily a step function, because we are going up, down, everything is allowed. It doesn't have to be increasing or decreasing, it doesn't have to be monotone, but the only condition is in that interval it has to be constant. Okay, so let me formally define simple process. So let xs, where s is between 0 to capital T, be a stochastic process. Let xs be a stochastic process defined on omega f p and zt t greater than or equal to 0 be a standard Brownian motion defined on the same probability space. Okay, zt be standard Brownian motion defined on, again, the same probability space, so omega f p. Okay, so we have to define a simple process. So for that we need to first consider partition. So divide the interval 0 to t, we can take closed 0, divide the interval 0 to t into sub intervals of the type 0 to t1, t1 to t2, and so on up to tn minus 1 to capital T. Last interval we will take closed, but in all the other intervals we are keeping it open on the right side, because we don't want overlapping intervals, or basically we don't want intervals which share a point, we want disjoint intervals. Okay, so we are keeping right side open, left side it is closed. So t1 belongs to second interval but not the first. Okay, so all these intervals are disjoint, and of course 0 has to be strictly less than t1, strictly less than t2, and so on, tn minus 1 capital T. So this 0 can actually be called as t0, and capital T can actually be called as tn. Okay, so we have divided 0 to t interval into this part, and so assume that xs is constant in each of these intervals. Okay, assume that xt is constant for each subinterval. Okay, so what do I mean by this? It means that, again, see, xt is a stochastic process, so it's basically a function of two things: time as well as the omega component, which comes from x being random. Okay, so xt omega is a function of only omega and not time when you fix an interval. Okay, so xt omega becomes, let's say, w naught omega when t is between 0 to t1, strict less than t1 here because we want open interval. Then it becomes w1 omega if t1 is less than or equal to t strictly less than t2. In general, it becomes wk omega if tk is less than or equal to t strictly less than tk plus 1. Okay, and last is wn minus 1 omega if t is between tn minus 1 to capital T. Okay, so in each interval xt has some constant value, constant in the sense it's a function of omega, of course. Okay, so for a fixed omega it looks like this, something like this. If you change omega, of course values are going to change, but for a fixed omega it's a process which is constant in every interval. Okay, and now we want to define it, that is integral over 0 to t xs dzs we want to define. As I said, we don't know what is dz, what is meaning of dz, but we want to define the integral. Okay, so because it's a simple process, life is easy. Okay, so let us first try for simple t. So this is 0 capital T, this is t1. Suppose my small t is here itself. Okay, so I want to compute integral in this interval itself. Now what would it become? So I of t becomes 0 to t. Now in this interval, value of xs is just w naught omega. Okay, and dzs, w naught is constant with respect to time. Okay, so w naught omega comes outside the integral because integral is over time. Okay, and now integral of dzs between 0 to t would become z at t minus z at 0, and we generally take z at 0 as 0 because we don't have Brownian process with a drift. It becomes w naught omega into zt. Is it okay? Similarly, if suppose I have t2 here and suppose t was somewhere here instead of here now, okay, then I'll have to worry about this interval and then this. Okay, so let me try to write in that case. So if t is between t1 and t2, then integral becomes 0 to t xs dzs. This is what we want to compute. This could be written as 0 to t1 xs dzs plus t1 to t xs dzs. Okay, okay so far. Now what can I say about 0 to t1? Over this interval 0 to t1, xs is anyway constant, so it is w naught omega. It becomes z of t1 minus z naught, so which is 0, plus here it becomes w1 omega integral of dz between t1 to t, so it is z t minus z t1. Okay, So W naught omega ZT1 plus W1 omega ZT minus ZT1. Okay. Okay. So, okay, fine. So this is IT when T is between T1 to T2. So in general, if T is between any Tj to Tj plus 1, then what happens? Okay, we can generalize from this. So it would be up to Tj, we would have all, and then that half in kind of partial interval. Okay, so IT. Okay, so first you have W naught and then ZT1 minus ZT naught. Next term is W1 ZT2 minus ZT1 and so on. Okay, so in general it would become W I omega Z T I plus 1 minus Z T I, and this we have to go till I going from 0 to j minus 1. Okay, because when I put j minus 1, it becomes ZTJ minus ZTJ minus 1. So up to this all the intervals are done, and then for last interval I will have Wj omega ZT minus ZTJ. Okay, Wj omega ZT minus ZTJ. Please check if you have understood what I have written here. Okay. Okay, so this is my definition of IT. So integral of simple process at some time point t. Okay. This does have certain interesting properties. So let me try to list some of these properties. So these are properties of Itô integral of a simple process. Okay, properties of Itô integral. This Itô is either written as this or this. Okay, Itô either with a bar or a cap. Okay, properties of Itô integral for a simple process. So let me list. First one is IT is continuous in time. Okay, it's a continuous function of time. Why? Because first Z is of course continuous function of time, and right now simple process is also it is discontinuous at certain points, that is the change points of the interval. But when you consider integral, you can show that integral is actually continuous. Okay, then IT is FT measurable. So what do I mean by this? So if history of the process up to time point t is known, then IT becomes known. That makes sense because see, the terms involved in IT are only containing history of the process up to time point t. No future information is needed. Okay, no value of any random variable beyond t time is needed. Okay, as a result IT becomes FT measurable. And now the third property is IT is a martingale with respect to FT. So measurability is up with respect to FT is anyway obvious, we discussed just now. So for proving that it's a martingale, we need to worry about the conditional expectation part. Okay, so to prove that it's a martingale, what we need to show is expectation of IT given some past S becomes IS. Okay, this we need to prove. Is it okay? So let us try to draw a picture of the timeline. This is 0, this is capital T. Somewhere here I have S and somewhere here I have T. Okay, because we need T to be larger than S. So suppose S is in say jth interval, so it is between Tj and Tj plus 1, and T is suppose in kth interval, so Tk and Tk plus 1. Okay. Even if Tj plus 1 is equal to Tk, it doesn't do much harm, and if S and T are in the same interval, still most of the arguments would go through. Okay, I leave that as a homework to you. This case will prove here, but almost all the arguments work even if S and T are in the same interval. Okay, so I now want to compute conditional expectation of IT given Fs, and we have to prove it is equal to Is. So let us try to compute. So expectation of IT given Fs. So we will first substitute what is IT, and then we'll try to compute expectation. So the value of the integral from the formula that we had seen just above is sum over I going from 0 to k minus 1 wi omega into zi plus 1 minus zi. Okay, zi plus 1 minus zi. Okay, these are first few terms, plus wk omega zt minus ztk. Okay, and of course we want to compute conditional expectation of all this given Fs. Okay, so far? Okay, so now S we are saying is in the jth interval. So when information up to S is given, everything up to that point becomes known. Okay, so we will try to divide this into further parts. Okay, so this is expectation of sum over I going from 0 to, let me write j minus 1 wi omega zs, okay, sorry, zt I plus 1 minus zi. Okay, so we have done up to this. Now we have to worry about this portion and then remaining portion. Okay, so that portion is wj omega zs minus ztj, okay, plus wj omega z tj plus 1 minus zs plus all the remaining things. So all the remaining things means so whatever intervals are present in between and then all these things. Okay, so again they are of the same form, so I can say maybe sum over I going from j minus 1 is done, jth interval is done, so j plus 1, so j plus 1 to k minus 1 wi omega zi plus 1 minus zi plus the kth interval, so wk omega zt minus ztk and whole thing given Fs. Okay, now see, given Fs, these terms are known. Okay, these terms are known, so they will remain as it is. Given fs, they'll just come outside the integral, okay, because they are part of history. And if you see the definition, this is nothing but integral value at s. Can you see what I am trying to say? This by formula is nothing but Ito integral of the same simple process at time point s. Okay, so this becomes is plus, it is outside expectation because it is known, constant. And now in these remaining things, see, only history up to s is known. So ztj plus 1 minus zs becomes a future increment. And we know that in a Brownian motion, Wj is known because Wj becomes known just at the beginning of jth interval, and we know up to the half part of jth interval up to s. Okay, so here Wj is known, so Wj comes outside, so Wj omega, and we are left with expectation of Ztj plus 1 minus Zs given Fs. Okay, now this is an increment plus these remaining things are still there. Okay, so plus sum over I going from j plus 1 to k minus 1, expectation of Wi omega Zi plus 1 minus Zi given Fs plus expectation of Wk omega Zt minus Ztk given Fs. Okay, so this is Is plus, okay, so as I said, information or history up to s is known, so this becomes a future increment, and increments are independent of each other, and expectation of increment in a Brownian motion is 0, so this expectation is 0. Okay, because increments are independent, conditional expectation would actually be same as the marginal expectation, and marginal expectation for an increment is 0, so this becomes simply 0. Okay, now this is sum over I going from j plus 1 to k minus 1. Now here I cannot directly use the same increment argument because now I have this Wi coming in picture. Okay, so what should I do? So let me try to consider a single term. So what we want is expectation of Wi omega Zi plus 1 minus Zi, correct? Zi, this whole thing given Fs. Okay, now see, I have Ti here, Ti plus 1 here. Okay, my Wi is constant over this interval, so if I say that instead of s is somewhere in the past, so instead of s, if history up to ith time point, if that is history up to Ti becomes known, then my Wi becomes known because Wi becomes known at that point. Okay, so I'll bring that in. So I can write this as expectation of Wi omega Zi plus 1 minus Zi given f up to Ti given Fs. Why is it allowed? If you remember, power property of conditional expectation. Okay, the smaller sigma field wins. S is smaller than Ti, so given Fs is same as given Fti given Fs. Okay, smaller sigma field always wins. That's why we need to know the properties of conditional expectation. Okay, and now that Fti becomes known, this Wi becomes known, so this can be taken outside this expectation, so it will come here. So I have expectation of Wi omega, and then I have again expectation of an increment And by same logic, because increments are independent of each other and because the marginal expectation of an increment is 0, this inside portion becomes 0. So I have expectation of Wi into 0, which is nothing but 0. Okay, and by exact same logic, by conditioning on ftk, we can prove that last term is also 0. So everything is 0. So we are left with Is. Okay. Hence, we have proved that conditional expectation of it given Fs is Is. Thus, Ito integral of a simple process is a martingale with respect to the given filtration. Okay. So, let me stop here. We'll discuss further things about Ito integral in the next lecture. Thank you.